Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our weekly Nakshatra series. And today we are going to be covering Saturn in Krittika Nakshatra. And what happens when Saturn is in the Nakshatra of Krittika in your horoscope. And this is something known as Nakshatra system in Vedic Astrology, where if you have a zodiac sign, behind the zodiac sign are constellations working. They're like the motors, the internal engineering of a zodiac sign. Very, very important. This is why you will notice that a person of one zodiac sign or two people of the same zodiac sign are not behaving in the same manner. They're a little bit different. They approach life in a little bit different, distinct manner. So that's where these nakshatra comes into play. And as always, if you do not know, if you have Saturn in this nakshatra and where all the planets are in the nakshatra in Vedic Astrology and all the planetary placements and details, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, Aspects, and Mahadashas at the Speed of Light, including all my consultations and readings at this link. So, Krittika Nakshatra, according to Rig Veda, this is the first nakshatra. See, in Vedic Astrology, you always learn that Ashwani is the first nakshatra. That is not true. It is actually Krittika. Life began with fire, right? All the Big Bang theory that you studied in high school and college, even though it's wrong, it's about the explosion of fire. Fire coming about. And I don't believe that Big Bang is 8 billion years ago or 8 billion years old. I don't think so. I think Big Bang, at least it's 108 billion years old. Now, as much as we can argue about this and talk all day long and refer to old classical texts versus new science and technology, it's useless. So for you, I guess 8 billion is good. For me, 108 billion is good. Doesn't matter. It ain't doing nothing for us right now. But Krittika is a nakshatra that represents bluntness. Krittika is a nakshatra that referred by the blade. To cut. To look at things critically. To look at things critically, take out the things that are not needed, keep the things that are needed. Krittika represents connection with the divine and the gods. Why? Because it's fire. Krittika is personified by the god of fire, Agni. And the way to connect with the gods is through fire rituals. So Krittika represents everything which is fire. Pitta, homas. And obviously too much fire within your body can cause acidities and all the other things that happens when you have too much heat in your body. Even like if you have too much heat, you may even get boils. So, and also Krittika represents, especially in the mythological stories, running after somebody else's wife. Trying to go after someone else's spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend. It's this lustful nature that comes about. And there's many, many more things. And this is the nakshatra which is controlled by the sun. Sun is fire, right? Sun is that actual personification, the realistic portrayal of fire. But now, and also you got to understand, this is a nakshatra that occurs from 26 something to 10 degrees of Taurus. So the first section of this nakshatra is in the sign of Aries. The next 3 sections of this nakshatra is in Taurus, because each nakshatra is divided into 4 parts known as padhas. So pada 1 is occurring towards the end of Aries. The next 3 padhas occurring in Taurus. That is also going to have a differentiation. So now you're putting Saturn into this nakshatra. And Saturn is in the sign of Aries for right now, where it's debilitated, where it's considered debilitated. Although Saturn has passed over its debilitated degrees of 20, it's not going down towards its mature state. Is in Lajitadya Avastha, is actually going to its mature older state. So when Saturn is here, especially in Krittika Nakshatra, but in the sign of Aries, there's a lot of anger with this person, especially when it comes to dealing with authoritative figures. If you have this nakshatra, you cannot taking orders from other people. The fire comes out. You yourself, when you're put into leadership position, you kind of bring this sphere of fire, which destroys everything. You know how a company is running really well, really good. Somebody comes in, your new boss comes in, the new manager comes in, or CEO comes in. He changes all the rules, changes everything. No longer 2-hour lunch breaks, only 30-minute lunch breaks. No longer you will be paid for staying out for this much time and this and this. And it completely creates this chaos. It's like he's burning away this boss, whoever this person is, with this Saturn in Krittika Nakshatra, can burn all this thing away to bring something new. Burning the forest with good fruits away so they can create their own fruit, their own cactus tree in there. Because Saturn is a planet that does not like to be in a leadership position. Saturn shies away from leadership position, and Aries is a sign of leadership. Aries is a sign of individualism. Saturn is far away from individualism. See, this is individualism. One. But Saturn is like this. He likes to be with a lot of people. He likes to blend in with a lot of people. Saturn likes to go out there and just be with the normal people. Saturn kind of like despises the higher authority, the big man, the big brother. But Saturn is obviously forced to be a servant because Saturn is servant. Saturn is a working class. Saturn is also begging. This is why politicians are signified by Saturn. Why? Especially Kapiel Raaj said that what is the job of a politician? Is to beg for votes for you. So they become beggars. So Saturn represents the populace. Like the moon represents the populace, Saturn also represents the working class populace that are going to be voting for you. So here in Krittika Nakshatra, Saturn will have a very blunt nature when it comes to talking. Saturn does not like to talk. Especially if Saturn is in the third house in Aries, in Krittika Nakshatra. Either probably you don't have any younger siblings, and if you do, either your communication with them is really just to the point, or they are very rude in their ability to speak. So when Saturn is put into a leadership position in Aries, Saturn does not know how to talk to people. Saturn feels aggravated trying to tell everybody, because there's a certain procedure. When you have to communicate with everybody, there's a certain procedure. You sit down this group of people, then you say this, blah, 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 just do it, blah, I don't care, what, gone. So handling leadership position early on in your life with this Saturn is never good. So if you become a manager in your early 20s with this type of a Saturn, you might actually bankrupt the business because you will not have the maturity to know how to deal with people, how to deal with their leadership position and leadership qualities. When you mature, that's where the Saturn gives great results in Krittika, in Aries sign. Unless, of course, a planet is supporting Saturn, like Sun is sitting with Saturn, Saturn will get support, like Neej Bhang, meaning cancellation of its debilitated state. Here, Saturn especially might actually be, so if somebody has this Saturn in Aries, let's say even sitting in the ascendant, might be either a illegitimate child of their parents or the mother, or they might be a child who might have been adopted from an orphanage. Or somehow this person will deal with this aspect in their life. Because especially when Saturn is in Krittika Nakshatra, 5th house becomes the strong part. Why? Because if you move Saturn into the sign of Aries. Even if it's not, you move Saturn to the sign of Aries. Now, Krittika is ruled by Sun. So which house the Sun controls? The 5th house. So matter of children, pregnancy, might be related to this issue. And obviously with this, I have seen Saturn in Krittika Nakshatra may bring late children also. Doesn't have to be illegitimate or, adopted or from orphanage. It can also be late because Saturn is a very slow moving planet. And Saturn is feeling burnt. Saturn feels aggravated in Krittika. These people also can become butchers, cutting meat, because Saturn is a servant class. In which part of being in a servant class you have to use a knife to cut something? Most of the time it's meat, like a butcher. Somebody who can become an ironsmith. Saturn represents iron, minerals. But also, Saturn is also the Karka of gold. People think that Sun and Jupiter are Karka of gold. It's actually Saturn really. How is gold formed? Beneath the earth. Is gold formed quickly? No. It takes a long time for gold to form. And it's formed deep beneath, in dark places. Everything which Saturn represents. Saturn represents time, meaning taking a long time to form something. Saturn represents things that are buried underground, which takes a long time to form something. And in Krittika, which is heat, gold is formed with that heat. So this can show a person who might be interested in gold mining, might be working in a gold mine, have interest towards investing in gold. Then Saturn moves into Taurus. Now Saturn has room to breathe. It is in the friendly sign of Venus. Friendly sign of Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Venus and Saturn are best friends. Taurus has everything to do with money, voice, speech, family, nourishment. So in Krittika Nakshatra, sitting in the 3 padas of Taurus, first of all, this person becomes quite lustful. So about the part of going after other people's wives, it's not like they're purposely trying to go after other people's wives. These are the people who love to be in relationship with older men and women. You know how some men are like 24, 25, and they love that older woman, that cougar, they call it in US, over like 42, 45. And they just have this natural attraction to them. But when they do, they find out, oh, she's married. Okay, so it's not like you purposely wanted to go there. Or you get into a relationship with older people who might have been married before. They could be divorced, they could be separated, they could be widowed. So that also plays into this part. Saturn in Taurus becomes very good with keeping money. Yet there's fear around it. Like in the sign of Aries, Saturn has this fear and anxiety towards leadership because it doesn't want to be put in the spot because then it can do something wrong. In the sign of Taurus, Saturn has this fear towards not losing money. Krittika is a nakshatra of fire, right? Agni. That means burning of money. So early in life, they can also make bad investments that burns the money. If, let's say you have this lustful nature and you try to go and try to be with other people's wives or husbands, like having an affair with a married man, married woman, can burn your money away. Also, within this, will create problems within your home. Having a lustful nature will create problems within the home. The more money you go after, the more greed you have regarding money, the more problems it's going to cause within the home. Why? Because again, if you put Saturn in the sign of Taurus and make Taurus the ascendant, which sign is now ruled by Sun, the 4th house. So when you go towards the wrong side of Krittika, it's going to create problems within the home. But also Saturn shows one can do very well in being a leader in a real estate company, being a real estate builder, having partnership. You may also have 7 houses. 1 yours and 6 could be rental properties. Because Krittika is about the 7 rishis. 1 was invisible. The 7 stars, where 1 was invisible, 6 are visible. So 1 could be your own home. You can have 6 other properties because Saturn does well. And because Saturn is very mature, right? Saturn is a mature, wise planet. So when it comes to dealing with money, they have this knack for investing. They know how to divide their money, how to cut the money, and how to put the money where things grow. Because fire, see fire that represents of Krittika, it represents continuation, right? Like it can represent youthfulness, youngness, never diminishing. So here Saturn can use that fire, divide the fire in different parts and keep having that fire. So great strategy in investing money, investments. But again, as soon as they cheat as soon as they become part of some illicit affair where they know this person is married and they're trying to go after them, that's where they will have problems with their real estate, within the home, within their family. Especially with Saturn in Krittika Nakshatra, if you gift your mistress, that person who is married, shoes and gifts, you will see problem happening within your home. Because Saturn is leather. Saturn represents making shoes. So these kind of things can happen with Saturn and Krittika. But on the Taurus side, it's more about accumulating wealth, lustfulness, and having to enjoy life. In Krittika is more about the frustration, the anger, feeling left out, feeling like the illegitimate child. But one thing they are very good in is if you need to talk to somebody like straightforward, like just be straightforward to them. I hate you. Just don't come here anymore. They're the one who will say that, and they will just not feel that, because the ability to feel that emotions and fire is held back. Because fire is not about emotions. Fire is just about cleaning out things, cleaning out, burning out, washing away your sins. So they just say it. They don't beat around the bush. If somebody shows up to their party who was not supposed to be invited, they will go up to them, say, "I'm sorry, you're not invited to this party. You can go." So that's where, the negative side of that comes out. Okay? So guys, this was my analysis of Saturn in the Nakshatra of Krittika. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know where your Saturn is placed, all your other planet placements, all my books, reports, consultations, for that check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.